Drums. Drums are one of the best example of mechanical to sound energy in terms of conversion of energy. The hitting of the drums is the good example of mechanical to sound energy. For instance, imagine there is a concert going on and so many other instruments on stage is being performed. When we look deep into it, there is numerous types of energy being transferred and converted. Now that we know drums is the only instrument which converts mechanical to sound, and this is a good example of mechanical to sound energy. From such daily events, we can easily find out the examples for energy conversion. Stereo speakers. Stereo speaker is nothing but the stereophonic sound that converts the mechanical energy into the sound energy. It is a device which produces sound based on the dimensions of the sound form, the nature. The stereo speakers are the setup which will produce sound in a device, and that sound will be given out as waves in the form of woofers. In the stereo sound systems there are basically two types. One type is known as the true and the other is known as the natural. In these types, the natural sound will be captured and then the sound goes under several processes. The live sound is recreated using several microspeakers. In this process, the mechanical energy is converted to sound energy and we get to hear the final sound through the loudspeakers. It is one of the good example of mechanical to sound energy in terms of energy conversions. Motor. When we talk about motor, we generally mean it to be the electric motor, and that is common, but in this case we shall see it from other point of view. Now when the motor is connected to an electric power supply, here the concept of the electric energy comes into play, but we need to consider the other part of it. When the motor is connected to the power supply and when the device is switched on, the motor within itself will have a mechanical process going on, and this will in turn produce a sound that kick-starts the motor for action. Hence by this way, the mechanical energy is automatically converted into sound energy. It happens when viewed in detail from a different perspective. Hanging bell. Bell is a common device that produces sound just by making a physical movement. Basically, hanging bell is seen everywhere, and when hit with a force it will produce sound. We may come across such hanging bell in temples, churches, and so on. When the bell is hit with a force, the bell makes the sound. It is a process where the mechanical energy is converted to the sound energy. The bell will be hung from a certain height that is attached to a string. When the string is pulled to and for the gong inside hits the surface of the bell, making a sound, and this proves as one of the good example of mechanical to sound energy. Ring bell. Ring bell is seen in every other office and is one of the most common devices that give sound by just a click. In this bell, a click has to be made using hands, and then we will be hearing a sound, after which we know that the energy has been converted. So this energy conversion is the example of mechanical to sound energy. Whistle. A whistle is a small device which produces sound when blown using mouth. It is a device which is used in several matches played and mainly by the referee. This device basically converts the mechanical energy into the sound energy, and it becomes one of the good example of mechanical to sound energy. Trumpet. Trumpet is one of the musical devices which produce sound using air, and this air is blown in by mouth. Basically, the trumpet is a musical device which will convert mechanical energy to sound energy. It is a brass instrument which produces sound by blowing air into it. This whole process is a good example of mechanical to sound energy. String instruments. The string instruments are the devices which are viable to be used in all possible examples. Mainly when it comes to energy conversion, it converts mechanical energy to sound energy. When the strings are played using fingers or the plectrum, we hear the sound coming out of it, and this basically is the conversion of mechanical to sound energy. Playing the string instruments has a way of conveying the sound to the listeners, and this done while one energy is converted to another. So this is a good example of mechanical to sound energy. Tuning fork. Tuning fork is a device which produces sound on being hit on a surface. The sound waves are basically created by the particles that vibrate in the air. When the tuning fork is hit on a surface, the fork will vibrate and will give away a diminishing sound. This is one of the good example of mechanical to sound energy when the energy conversions is considered. Please visit our website lambdageeks.com for more articles on technology, engineering, mathematics, and various other domains. Scientific calculator and many more other tools.